Hey guys, welcome to Code Decode. Till now, we have seen a lot of design patterns: abstract factory, singleton design patterns, sidecar design patterns, builder design patterns, and a lot of design patterns we have seen. Now, in this video, we're going to see about the anti patterns in backend, which we not even knowing about it are doing still in the coding practices in everyday life as code developers. So, let's see these anti patterns in backend. Now, what are anti-patterns? These are the common mistakes or the poor design choices that seems like a good idea initially but leads to problems in scalability, maintainability, or performance later on. Let's see one of the very important anti-pattern that we have discussed a lot of time in our videos. Creating the God class. What is a God class? A single class that does too much of task, handling the business logic, data access, even the UI concerns. For example, I'll give you a code example. Suppose you have an e-commerce website and you are doing the order management, but you do create order into that order management, you save that order to the database and also sends an email notification in the same class. Three things done in one single class. When you want to change any of the email notification functionality, you have to still modify order management class, which also violates the single responsibility principle. Thus, when a single class does too much of task, handle business logic, data access logic also. So this is a task of service, this is a task of repository layer. You mixed both of them in one single class. Even sending email is also done, which should be basically the side concerns. So the better approach is to break each responsibility into single small classes. For example, order service will just do the creation of orders and handling the orders. Order repository will save the order and email service will handle the notifications. And three different classes have their single responsibility maintained very nicely into it. So we split into different layers rather than creating one God class out of it. The second very important anti pattern, and 90% of us does this, is creating a spaghetti code. First of all, 90% of us don't even understand what is spaghetti code. So, have you seen a bowl of spaghetti? The noodles into it are completely tangled and unstructured. So, this happens when you have no clear architecture. There is a mixture of business logic, database calls, and UI and email notifications, where your classes and functions are independent in a very messy way. The noodles bowl, right? So all the noodles are completely fussy. All the spaghettis are completely interlinked and tangled in very tightly coupled way. So there is a very poor separation of concern that becomes the spaghetti code. What is an example of this? When you have a process order, you also do the validation there. You apply discounts also. You update your inventory also and sends the email notification also. A lot of methods in the same class, same method. So remember, this was a class. Order management has multiple methods doing lots of things. Here, one single method is doing lots of things. Once you get the order, now you are validating the order, you are applying the discount, you are updating the inventory and also sending the notification. So remember, this worked on the class level. So when you create a very interlinked, violating a single responsibility at the class level, that is a God class creation anti pattern. When you do it at the method level, that becomes the spaghetti code. So the problem with this is that you're handling the validation also into that method, you're handling the discount logic also, updating the inventory and sending the notifications, all mixed in one single method. So remember, spaghetti works in one single method. This is hard to test each part separately because this is a very big method. JUnit for this method becomes really cumbersome. If you need to change the email logic, you risk breaking the inventory logic because you have to handle and violate a single method itself. The common reason for spaghetti code creation is that you add too many if else condition in one single method. What you could have done is you could have created another method to validate this. You could have created another method to apply discount, and you could have called those method from another method. This prevents the spaghetti code. So one huge function doing everything is a spaghetti function. No consistent design pattern, quick fixes added again and again. Developers keep copy pasting and no separation of concerns. So the spaghetti code is a code that works today, but nobody can fix it tomorrow because nobody could understand it and it becomes the God method. A real world analogy will give you for spaghetti methods. Suppose you have a house, you have electrical wires, you have water pipes, you have gas pipelines, you have internet cables. What if the architect has tied everything in one corner? Now, if one of your water pipes is leaking, you have to make your hands dirty with all the electrical wires also, gas pipelines also, internet cables also. So if you try to fix the water pipe leakage, the entire house might break because the electricity wire might get broken. And that is what the risk spaghetti code gives you in the real world. That's the spaghetti code for you. How do you mitigate this? You break this into different methods: validate method, apply discount method, update method, and then call this inside one main method. And that's this refactoring of the spaghetti code. Now, each method is single responsibility. It is easier to test and it follows a single solid principles at method level also. Now, you would ask me, this sounds so much very similar to God class. How is spaghetti code different? So, when you write the messy code logic at the method level, that is spaghetti. When you do it at the class level, that becomes a God class. So, think of spaghetti code as entangled noodles everywhere, while the God class is one giant meatball trying to be a whole meal. One class doing everything. You will never be able to eat the whole meatball at once.
Hey guys, recently we have launched a course covering an end-to-end full stack application using Angular as front end and microservices and Spring Boot as the back end. Also, we have used Cloud to deploy this application, and we have used CI/CD, that is Jenkins and Argo CD, for continuous integration and continuous deployment. The technologies that we have used is REST, RESTful web services, Spring Boot and microservices for backend, Angular for front end. GitHub we have used for version control system. Also, to make the code unit testable, we have used JUnits. We have used Sonar for code quality checks. Also, for containerization, we have used Docker and Kubernetes. And to deploy this whole application, we have used AWS and multiple services from AWS. Also, we have used SQL as well as NoSQL, that is MongoDB and SQL. On AWS, since for the SQL we have RDS, we have used those services, and Jenkins and Argo CD for CI/CD pipeline. Also, this is an architecture of the application that we have created where the front end is Angular and the back end is microservices. We have used ALB load balancers, Ingress for routing and load balancing. And we have used SQL and MongoDB for SQL and NoSQL DB management with Eureka Server and all those microservices counterparts. Now, this is the CI/CD pipeline. This is the CI/CD flowchart for the application that we have created on local. So, this is something, a flow when you create an application in local, push it to GitHub, create a Jenkins pipeline, and do the CI/CD using Jenkins and Argo CD. And at the end, deploy the whole code at AWS EKS. Complete description of this course is covered in a very separate video. The link for that video is also given in the description bar below. And also the link to purchase that course from Udemy is also in the description bar below. So please go and check the description for all these links.
Now, the third anti-pattern is hard coding the configurations, where you put the JDBC URLs and everything in your class itself. And the API keys also directly into the class or the code. This is a bad security risk, and this is very hard to change across environments. What if you have hard coded into the code, but this URL is different for your lower environments like dev and UAT, and this is different for your production? Then how would your code be able to distinguish this is a prod URL or dev URL? Then you have to write, if environment equals to dev, use this URL. Else, if environment equals to prod, use prod db URL. Very bad approach. This is not at all scalable and maintainable. The better approach is use external configurations like this. You can use this either in the properties file, or if you're using microservice with config server implementation, you can use it in the config server also. The fourth anti-pattern I've seen a lot of time during these days is overusing the static methods. That is, if you want to send an email, what you try to do is you create a util class, you create a static method, and you start calling the methods. The problem I have with this utils class is it is very hard to mock. You have to use stubs, mocks, spies, and lot of things, and creates a lot of tight coupling. So the JUnit testing of these static classes is a blunder for me. Rather, if it is really not needed, don't create these static classes at all. You rather use the dependency injection with autowiring. You create it as a service and autowire @email service, and then email service instance.send email. Don't try to create everything in utils unless it is really a util. Fifth is ignoring the exception handling. What I have seen nowadays is you do a catch and you do nothing. what it leads to is unclear error handling and poor user experience. You, even if you log it and we don't understand what is happening. So use a better logging mechanism, and it's better to use a custom exception and proper logging here. So if you have the exception here, say that this is a new order processing exception, that the order has failed to be saved. The sixth thing that I've seen is you have a tight coupling between layers. For example, you have properly created your service and repository layer, but you have created it like a new object, direct dependency. This is bad because this creates the tight coupling and will not use any of the DI and auto wiring properties of Spring. Even though it works, it will not take you far in the long run. Rather, what you should do is create an order repository interface. You create a save method. In the order service, you create the interface dependency and call the method. And you should, if there's some modifications to save method, you create order repository IMPL, but still you have to auto wire the interface here only. Internally, when repo is called, its implementation will be called internally in the service layer. This interface creation and calling the IMPL internally also comes when we have the hexagonal and onion architecture. Let me know if you want to know about that architecture, which is very important nowadays in an enterprise level. Just let me know in the comment section. I'll create one video for the onion or hexagonal architecture also. The seventh, 90% time I've seen people doing this is overusing the design patterns. Just because it is a pattern, you're trying to fix something, don't overcomplicate it. Imagine you have a simple service to send the email notification. Instead of just writing a simple straightforward class for email notification util, you create a factory pattern, you create a singleton design pattern, and the abstract factory also, all for only one notification type, sending the notification. Example, you create a factory of factory notification factory. Then you create the email notification factory, which implements this factory and creates the object of email notification. This notification is again an interface, and this is implemented by email notification. Now this is factory pattern, this is abstract factory pattern, and this is how you create a singleton object of notification manager. With a singleton object, you create the constructor as private, you return an instance, you check whether the notification is empty or not. If it is already there, using the factory design pattern, sends an email notification. If you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 classes just to send an email notification. What you have done here, you have overused the design patterns. You have overused 3 design patterns where none of them is required in reality. Too many layers for simple tasks. It is hard to maintain and understand. It's an unnecessary complexity. Now you would ask me, going forward, I can have email notification or SMS notification. Then notification is a good way. I would say yes. I can agree to that. What you could have done is you can just use the factory design pattern and nothing else. Going till abstract factory, doing the singleton implementation design pattern is overdue of the design patterns. Do only how much is necessity. If at this moment you have the chances that you will never send SMS, you will never have that functionality, don't overdo it. If you have it, just use the factory and just live with it. So don't add unnecessary complexity by adding unnecessary design patterns to the code. Use only when they solve the real problem. So each design pattern comes into picture when real problem arised. If you have been facing that real problem, then only use the design patterns. Don't just create a problem in your mind. Even for having the singleton design pattern, you could have used the Spring's bean scope, and it will internally have the singleton design pattern being created for you. So why this is better? Because now if you create a simple email notification service as a service, create a method, send email notification, and do the logic. So rather than 5 classes, one single email notification sent using this service. Why this is better? No unnecessary patterns used, easy to test and maintain, and follows Yagni principle. You would ask me, what is Yagni? You aren't gonna need it. That is what the principle says. That means if you think that going forward you will use SMS kind of email notification also, and creating all kinds of patterns because of this is just over engineering, and that is what Yagni says. Don't over engineer. If you want to need it in upcoming future, think about it later on, because 90% time you might not even get that requirement if it is not in the initial design phase. If you want to know more about Yagni principle, just let me know in the comment section. There are many such principles like Yagni. If you want to know, let me know. I'll create one separate video on the design principles like these. Eighth problem is I've seen not using transactions properly. So there is a credit and debit. If not done properly, you might debit but never credit, and that is a point on your credibility. How transactional is your approach? So this leads to data inconsistency. So start using the transactional whenever it is needed. Now I have few more things to cover. What is onion architecture, what is hexagonal architecture, what is Yagni, and all those things. If you want to have another video on onion architecture and hexagonal architecture, which is very highly used in the nowadays enterprise level, just let me know in the comment section. Then only I'll create the architecture level content for you. Thank you.